Musketeers, welcome back to another video. My name is Gemma and today I am so very excited to be doing the Three Musketeers tag, which is an original tag created by one of my absolute favourite booktubers, Becky over at Teacup the Storyteller. If you haven't checked her out, if you are not subscribed to her, which I'm sure you probably are, but if you're not, you are missing out. She is phenomenal. She has the coziest vibes. She knows stuff about filming that I have no idea about, and she just has this beautiful aesthetic in her videos. I could gush all day, but then I won't get to do her actual tag questions. Yes. And also I apologise if we get a little bit distracted because my 2-year-old is over there playing cars and it looks like it might have just gone under the sofa. So 1 second. So before I get distracted too much and get pulled from pillar to post, let's go through some of these questions. So number 1. Oh, and obviously all of these questions are based around Becky's favourite book, which is The Three Musketeers. Number 1, Alexandre Dumas was born in the 19th century. Do you have a favourite time period to read about? If yes, what do you like about it? So, I'm going to cheat here. We've kind of got 2. I love historical fiction, and if I'm honest, my favourite is to read about time periods I don't know about, if that makes sense. But the time periods that I pick up most often, most frequently, are absolutely the Tudor period. Love that whole time, court intrigue, all of that, love it. So that's sort of my first answer. I also love reading World War II books, but I prefer reading World War II books from the views of non-British, non-American. So I am British, I learned about World War II in school. It's a very blinkered view. I read Pachinko a couple of years ago, which was a Korean-Japanese perspective, which I found much more interesting and enlightening on the whole concept of World War II. I've also read Winternight, which looks at the Russian perspective. So, yeah, I do like to read about World War II, but I'm not super interested in the British or the American experience from a fiction perspective. Question number 2. Alexandre Dumas was born in France. Is there a French author whose book you'd recommend? And no, I actually don't think I've read really any French authors. Well, I say that. I've read a couple, but they're a bit meh. So no, I don't have a good answer to this, and I need to change it. So as these tags start circling, I will certainly be watching to see what other people say so that I can pick up some more French authors, because it's something that's not really in my wheelhouse, unfortunately. Question number 3. Alexandre Dumas often bases novels on real events and historical figures. Is there a person from the past, artists, politicians, anyone, who you would like to meet? And sort of tying into my first question around where I said I like reading about the Tudors, I would really like to meet Katherine of Aragon. So Katherine of Aragon was Henry VIII's first wife. And I would love to sit down and have a chat with her, because she was originally married to Henry VIII's brother. She said it wasn't consummated. There is a lot of speculation, but no one really knows. Would love to ask her. And then obviously she married Prince Henry, and had his eldest daughter Mary, and she was married to him for a long time before he divorced her to pick up Anne Boleyn. But her life, from moving to Britain when she was a teenager, from Spain, and then marrying Henry VIII's brother, him dying, and then she basically was abandoned to poverty for a very long time before she married Henry VIII. And then obviously he divorced her and sent her to a convent. And you read books about her, and her strength of personality, her strength of will was so strong, and her faith. She just sounds like an incredible person and I would love to meet her. Question number 4. Alexandre Dumas wrote some pretty chunky books. For example, The Count of Monte Cristo is almost over 1,000 pages, which I am going to read next year with Fraser from Fraser Simon's Springboard Thought. As opposed to his son, Alexandre Dumas Jr, whose only book, The Lady of the Camellias, is less than 180 pages. What is the longest and shortest book you have read? So, because I'm lazy, I have just written down the longest and shortest book from this year because it's easily accessible on Goodreads. The longest book I've read this year was The Fiery Cross by Diana Gabaldon, which is the 5th in the Outlander series, which was circa 1,500 pages. I did mention that in my 1001 books tag, as well as some other books over 1,000 pages that I've read. The shortest book I've read this year was Serpentine by Philip Pullman, which is a children's novella spin-off from his Dark Materials series, and that was like 80 pages, I think. So yeah, those are my longest and shortest of the year. Question 5. I don't think there is a video in which I wouldn't mention my favourite book, The Three Musketeers. You do mention it a lot, Becky, but I love you for it. Is there a book you want everyone to know about? It can be your favourite book of all time or some recent read you'd recommend to other people. So I think the one that I would recommend to pretty much anyone is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. It is historical fiction. It's epic family saga, in cross-generational story, and it's just fantastic. It gives you a perspective that probably a lot of people aren't aware of, the Korean-Japanese perspective in World War II. The characters break your heart, and it covers racism, poverty, a will to survive. And yeah, it was just one of the most beautiful books I've ever read. It's one of my best books of all time, and I highly recommend it to pretty much everybody, even if you don't read historical fiction. Question 6. One of the most famous quotes in literature, all for one, one for all, came from the pen of Alexandre Dumas. Do you keep a track of your favourite quotes when reading? Do you have at least one quote you'd like to share? And which book does it come from? So I'm rubbish at keeping track of quotes. I will admit it now. But I do have a couple of quotes that I really love that stick with me. The first of which was by the delightful A.A. Milne. And that's, how lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. Quote from Winnie the Pooh. So yeah, what a lovely quote, right? Love that one. And then I couldn't not quote something from Lord of the Rings, because how many iconic quotes are in that book. And I've decided to pick, when in doubt, follow your nose. So yeah, just a couple that I really like, but I'll be honest, I don't really track quotes. I should, and I quite often think when I'm reading, oh, that's a really good quote, but then I never write them down, so lovely. All right, question 7. Let's see. The Three Musketeers is a book of strong friendship and allegiance. Do you have a favourite fictional friendship? And for this one, there were several that I could have chose. I think everyone's going to say, but I've decided to go for Vassia and Solveig from the Winternight trilogy. So Vassia is the main character. She's a young girl, and this is a series based on Russian folklore where Vassia is able to talk to spirits. And there's topics of sort of religion button up against spirituality and folklore and magic and those sorts of things. And Solveig is her horse, but Solveig is a talking horse. And their relationship is just bang on. Absolutely loved their dynamic. Highly recommend the series. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, they are the friends that I'm going to go for this prompt. The Three Musketeers is a story with strong female characters who are brave, fearless, yet gentle and loving. However, some of them prove to be true evil. Do you have a favourite female fictional character? Who is it and why? I have a lot of favourite female characters, but I thought for this one I would go for Kaya from Where the Crawdads Sing. I read this book last year, loved it. It was one of my absolute favourite books of last year. And Kaya is a young girl who lives on the marsh. Her family effectively abandoned her, and she raises herself in a little hut in the middle of a marsh. She has a couple of people that she trusts in the village, but yeah, she lives a hard life and people aren't very nice to her, and she just shows this incredible strength of will. She teaches herself to read, more or less. Well, someone teaches her, but she takes that love of reading and she grows and she grows, and she's just, she's a delightful character. So strong-willed, so independent. Yeah, going Kaya all the way. There are more than 50 film adaptations of The Three Musketeers. Is there a film adaptation that you enjoyed more than the actual book? It doesn't have to be one of Jamal's books, any book you've read. Okay, so yes, there is. The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. I read that book last year, and it is an epistolary. It's written completely in letters, and it follows a woman who goes to Guernsey and uncovers the story of what happened to the people there during the war and during the Nazi occupation. The book was fine. I wonder if I didn't connect with it because it was written in epistolary format, but I never really connected to the characters. But I watched the film and I cried like a baby. So I highly recommend the film. It's really, really good. The book is also very good. It's quite short. So yeah, but yeah, definitely preferred the film over the book for that one. Question number 10. I own 3 different editions. Becky owns 3 different editions of The Three Musketeers. Is there a book that you own more than one edition of? No. I don't tend to keep books once I've read them. I'm not a huge rereader. So currently the answer is no. However, I have asked for Christmas from my brother for a nice edition of The Hobbit. And I have a sort of like a mass market paperback with a picture of the film on the front. Up on my bookshelf in there. So I will then have 2 copies of The Hobbit, but currently no. Question 11. Have you read The Three Musketeers or any other books by Alexandre Dumas? If yes, which one? No, I haven't, but I really, really want to. But it's just one of those. It's just one of those that I haven't gotten to yet. So as I said, I will be reading The Count of Monte Cristo later this year with Fraser Simons. But I do want to read certainly The Three Musketeers and The Man in the Iron Mask. And then we'll see after that. I don't really know much more about his work after that. But yes, I do want to, but no, I haven't. Yes. Okay, so last, tag some people. So I'm trying to get ahead of the curve on this one and get this up pretty quick sharp after Becky's original, because otherwise everyone will tag all the people I know. So I'm going to start with tagging Simon at Simon Fraser Springboard Thought. Obviously I've already mentioned you in this video, so it would be great if you could do this one. I'm also going to tag Larry from Larry Has Opinions, Bob from Bob the Bookerer, and Alicia Reads and Rambles. Alicia is a slightly smaller channel, so it'd be great if you guys could go over and support her, subscribe. She has a pretty eclectic taste and she has a fabulous presenting style. I don't know where Percy is. Where's he gone? Where has he gone? So yes, I'm just going to tag those guys for today, and yeah. So yeah, I can't wait to see all of your answers, and I will see you again soon for another video. Okay, cheers guys, bye.